All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring what actually transforms an ordinary death into a truly legendary last stand. We're talking about those intense moments defined by absolute, unwavering duty, completely overwhelming odds, and ultimate sacrifice. These aren't just like dusty historical footnotes, no, they're incredible testaments to sheer human willpower when the chips are completely down. So what actually connects a rogue Japanese monk, a disgraced Korean admiral, and an American dentist? I mean, on paper, those three have absolutely nothing in common, right? But to understand how they're forever linked by this impossible courage, we're going to travel chronologically through three of the most awe-inspiring military sacrifices ever recorded. Let's see exactly what binds their legacies together. First stop on our timeline, 1189, Kyoto, Japan. We're starting our journey in the dark, dangerous nights of the 12th century. We're following this towering Buddhist monk named Benkei, who literally prowled the city's streets looking for his next victim. But listen, Benkei wasn't your average peaceful meditating monk. He was a Sohei, a severely battle-hardened warrior monk. Standing at a massive 6'6", he totally despised the samurai. He thought they were this arrogant class completely unworthy of their status. And this ideology, well, it set him on a bloody quest to duel and defeat exactly 1,000 samurai. He'd even collect their blades as trophies after every single victory. It's wild. So one night, drawn by the sound of a playing flute, Benkei finds his next target. It's a small, thin samurai named Yoshitsune, carrying this beautiful gilded katana. Benkei challenges him at Gojo Bridge, completely expecting an easy win. I mean, look at the mismatch here. Benkei towering over him with a massive polearm weapon called a naginata. But against all odds, Benkei gets shockingly defeated. And not just once, actually. He tried to stalk Yoshitsune for revenge and got beat a second time. 999. That is exactly how many swords Benkei had collected right up until this monumental defeat. Just one away from his goal. So, completely humiliated after coming that close, Benkei makes a total life-altering decision. He basically bows in defeat, completely abandons his life as a solitary monk, and becomes Yoshitsune's fiercely loyal retainer. The two of them became totally inseparable, fighting side by side through the entire brutal Genpei War. Let's fast forward a few years to 1189. The war is over, but jealousy and bitter politics turn Yoshitsune's own family against him. He and Benkei get totally betrayed by their protectors, and they end up trapped at the Battle of Koromogawa, outnumbered 5-1. It's a bloodbath. Realizing the battle is completely lost, Yoshitsune turns to Benkei. He tells his loyal friend he desperately needs time to commit seppuku. For those who don't know, that's a Japanese ritual suicide that requires some careful preparation in order to properly maintain your honor. Benkei understood the assignment perfectly. He marches out to guard the literal only bridge leading into the castle. And you guys, he was an absolute demon out there. He single-handedly slayed an estimated 300 men. The enemy was so terrified to fight this giant hand-to-hand that they eventually just called in their archers and rained arrows down on him, turning Benkei into a walking pincushion. But here's the crazy question. Why didn't he flinch at the arrows? He just stood there, completely stoic and unmoving, practically daring anyone to cross. Well, the crucial point here is, he was actually already dead. When the terrified enemy finally crept close enough to investigate this unmoving giant, they realized he had died standing upright. Knowing he had to buy his master every possible second, he had intentionally positioned his body to be propped up by his spear. He sacrificed his own life, literally hiding his death behind this defiant stance, all just to buy Yoshitsune the time he needed to die with honor. Incredible, right? Moving on to 1592, Joseon, Korea. Thanks to a completely corrupt government, the nation is caught utterly unprepared for a massive, brutal invasion by Japanese forces. Within just weeks, the invaders are practically marching on Seoul. Korea's top admirals are absolutely panicking, literally sinking their own ships out of fear. But when all hope seemed lost, a guy named Admiral Yusin Shin steps up. He recognized that Japan's whole naval strategy relied heavily on close-range combat and boarding enemy vessels. So, Admiral Yi leans into the Penixeon. This is essentially a Korean floating fortress ship. Armed with heavy cannons and designed specifically to make enemy boarding impossible, it was the absolute perfect tool to neutralize Japan's preferred strategy. So while all the other admirals are running scared and sinking their own fleets, Admiral Yi was just a totally different breed. He took his tiny fleet of just 34 ships and rushed headfirst into the enemy. Using these brilliant tactics to basically bait the Japanese into super vulnerable positions, he single-handedly sank over 200 Japanese ships in just a few weeks. By the end of the year, he had sunk over 350.
Now, despite being a literal strategic genius, and frankly, the only thing keeping Korea from total collapse, Admiral Yi faced immense jealousy from corrupt officials back home. A rival named Won-gun constantly undermined him. Seriously, Yi was repeatedly framed as a traitor, completely stripped of his rank, brutally tortured in prison on multiple occasions, and then humiliated by being demoted to fight as just a common soldier. Can you imagine?
Well, with Yi out of the picture, that jealous official Won-gun takes command. And what happens? He immediately falls into a trap and gets the entire Korean naval fleet absolutely decimated. The king finally realizes his massive mistake and reinstates Admiral Yi. But man, the damage was already done. Yi was left with a pathetic remainder of just 13 ships, and he has to face an overwhelming armada of 333 Japanese vessels.
What happens next at the Battle of Myeongyang completely defies logic. Outnumbered 25-1, Admiral Yi uses his superior strategy and the local water currents to pull off an absolute miracle. He manages to sink 31 Japanese ships, completely halting their momentum. And that number 0, that is exactly how many ships Admiral Yi lost in that entire battle. 0. It's unreal. Eventually, the Japanese are forced to order a retreat from Korea. But Admiral Yi mounts one final offensive at the Battle of Noryang. Standing right there on his flagship, literally beating a war drum to inspire his men, Yi is fatally struck in the armpit by a musket ball. Knowing he's dying, he delivers this incredible order. The war is at its height. Do not announce my death. He literally ordered his nephew to put on his armor and keep beating that war drum, hiding his own death just so his men would keep fighting their way to a free Korea. Finally, we hit 1944, Saipan, in the bloody Pacific theater of World War II. This just goes to prove that legendary final stands aren't just for ancient monks and admirals. Let's take a look at the path of a guy named Ben L. Solomon. He graduates from the USC Dental School in 1937, right? Then, he gets drafted into the Army in 1940 as a regimental dental officer. But here's the kicker. Solomon was also a highly skilled marksman. By the time his unit deploys to active combat in Saipan in 1944, the casualties were just infamously high. The original field surgeon gets wounded, so this military dentist voluntarily steps up to be the frontline surgeon, stationed just 50 yards behind the front foxholes. By July of that year, the Japanese forces on the island had taken incredibly heavy casualties. They realized they had absolutely zero path to victory. But instead of surrendering, the remaining 4,000 Japanese troops decided to launch a massive final banzai charge directly into the American lines. Their only goal at this point, take out as many soldiers as humanly possible. Within minutes, these enemy soldiers break right through the front lines and start swarming Solomon's medical tent, literally attacking the wounded inside. Solomon is enraged. He grabs a rifle from one of his patients and fights off the attackers in his tent, first using the rifle, then a bayonet. He orders his medics to evacuate all the wounded while he stays behind to cover them. He rushes out, takes over a manned machine gun where the crew had fallen, and single-handedly kills 98 attackers. 98! All so his injured men could safely escape. A few days later, American forces retake the area. They find Solomon's body slumped over that exact machine gun. His body had been ravaged by 76 bullet holes, plus multiple bayonet wounds. And get this. Many of those wounds he sustained while he was still fighting. The blood trail in the dirt actually proved that he had continuously repositioned that heavy machine gun multiple times while mortally wounded, just so he could keep providing cover fire. But tragically, military bureaucracy often gets in the way of recognition. Despite single-handedly saving dozens of lives, Solomon was denied the Medal of Honor for decades. Why? Because of a Geneva Convention rule that basically states medical officers cannot bear arms against an enemy. It literally took 58 years of constant recommendations from generals before this heroic dentist was finally posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor in 2002.
So, looking at a towering warrior monk pretending to be alive, an undefeated admiral hiding his own death, and a remarkably brave dentist laying down his life for his patients, we see a pretty clear pattern, don't we? A true last stand isn't really about how you die. It is entirely about who you're willing to protect when the odds are stacked completely against you. So I'm going to leave you with this to think about. When faced with absolutely impossible odds, what will your defining stand be?